As a business leader, you have always stood by the mantra of doing well, doing good. The very spiritual context, it's our dharma. It's a responsibility to do what we've unlock our potential and serve society and be that instrument of doing good in the world and in unlocking potential, unlocking wealth for the society also as a whole.
You have to actually, important to understand this is to sublimate your ego, which is really important. And in our foundation and in our business, we call it Seva Bhav. Seva Bhav is to something that you give with compassion. The whole world wants happiness. And the happiness that our scriptures talk about is within yourself. It is not outside. No, I think ultimate happiness is in giving.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast series, Happiness Hour. And in this series today, I have with me Mr. Ajay Piramal. I would say it doesn't need an introduction, but yet I will, just quickly introduce him. He is one of the India's leading industrialists and philanthropists. As the chairman of the Piramal Group, he has led its transformation into a $10 billion global business conglomerate. He serves on the Harvard Business School's Board of Dean Advisors, is the co-chair of the UK India CEO Forum and non-executive director of Tata Sons. That was just a professional introduction. On a personal level, I have known Ajay for over 20 years. And he, a very dear friend of the family, he introduced me into the scriptures and has been a constant inspiration in my life. So thank you so much, Ajay, for joining me and agreeing to do this podcast today.
My pleasure. Thank you for all the kind words you've said about me, Ashu. Thank you.
I would like to really kick off with a bit about your business side before we move into the happiness, because they're two interlinked together. As a business leader, you have always stood by the mantra of doing well, doing good. Could you tell us a little more about that?
So again, I think that business plays a very important role in doing good for the world itself. I believe in that, provided you do the right business or the right way of doing the business. And why is that important? So if you look at it, when you are in business, in positions of whatever in business, and I've been fortunate to have an important position in our business, is you are actually much more privileged than 99.9% of the people in the world. As our scriptures say, that to get a human life itself is you have to go through millions of lives as other lower species, and then you become a human. So that itself is a privilege. I think, secondly, the families that you're born in, the values that the families have, the education that you have, the opportunity to rise in a business. All this makes us much more privileged than most, as I said, 99.9% of the people in the world. I mean, I could have been born on the street. I mean, but I was born in the family that I was. And therefore, I think it becomes a responsibility for us, and it is a duty that we also do something which helps the world, which helps in the way we can serve the world. And that's why, and business can be a big instrument to do that. It's like, look at what the pharmaceutical industry can do. I mean, longevity in India, let's say, for instance, at the time of independence was just 34 years. Today it is 71 years. A lot of it is also because of the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, of course, it is like a knife. I mean, a knife in the hands of a surgeon is used for a good purpose, and it can be a dagger which can be used to harm people. So similarly, I'm not saying pharmaceuticals can also be that, but by and large, we have done well in pharmaceuticals as the world has done better. So therefore, I feel that every business must do well. I mean, you have to perform. If you don't perform well, if you don't make money, then you can't do good. Similarly, in a social enterprise as well, you have to not only do good, but it has to do well also. You have to measure impact, which is again what we do in our foundation. And therefore, this was very carefully chosen as our purpose, to do both well and good.
Well, thank you so much for that. Very, I think in the very spiritual context, put it as it's our duty, it's our dharma, it's a responsibility to do what we've unlock our potential and serve society and be that instrument. And, as you're being that instrument of doing good in the world and in, unlocking potential, unlocking wealth for the society also as a whole. In that context, you very much at the helm of your business sold Nicholas Piramal, a crown jewel, and not many business leaders sell, or family businesses especially sell a business which is really at its peak. What helped you take that decision?
So first, we did not have an intention to sell, let me say, but then we had an offer which was very good. And again, as I look at, when you are running a business, you take the role of a trustee. What is the role of a trustee? It's worth understanding. In any trust, you hear of trust, there are three important parts of a trust. One is that there is a settler who actually gives assets, it puts assets in a trust. The second is the beneficiary, people who benefit from the assets which the settler has put in the trust. And the third thing is the trustees, whose responsibility is to ensure that you make the best return for your beneficiaries of the assets given by your settler, and do it in a way that they do not get, it's not for any personal benefit of the trustee, it is for the benefit of the beneficiaries. So in our business, we look at ourselves as trustees. The beneficiaries are our shareholders, beneficiaries are our employees, our customers, and society. And in that sense, I look at my role as a trustee. The settler, in my view, is actually the Lord above, because you talked about instruments. We are really mere instruments. I mean, it's by just good fortune, maybe some hard work, that you are where you are and the assets you have what you have. And therefore, we also felt that the value that we got was really in the best interests of all these four, whether it was our shareholders, whether it was the consumers, whether it was society, and whether employees. So in that sense, we decided to do that. And again, if you take your role as a trustee, then you don't own it. You are actually keeping it. You are making the best using it as or creating the best value for your beneficiaries. So when you dissociate ownership with just a more trusteeship, I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, I think it's that disassociation which is possibly the toughest for most people, and really understanding that I'm just a trustee. And how has this attitude of trusteeship impacted the rest of your life? Because you can't take away, you can't apply it to one side and not the other, because you're not an integrated or an authentic human being otherwise.
See, again, so to say that it happens all the time is not true, but I do try to believe that, okay, you have to actually, important to understand this is to sublimate your ego, which is really important. Only then can you really realize that you're just a mere trustee, or you use the term instrument. This is what the Lord says, that I have given you this, you are my mere instrument. And actually what I want, what is to happen, I know. So just remain, just do your best. So just really learning these scriptures, I think seeing the family values that have been brought up, seeing what my parents did, more than talking about it, it's the way they acted and lived that makes us all that. I mean, I'm fortunate, as I said, I'm blessed.
Yeah, I think having a family that gives us these values which anchor us into ourselves is very critical to how we carry the rest of our life forward. Another person who's had a very deep impact in you is your spiritual guru, Maharaj Radhanath Swami. What would you say has been his role in changing you or your perspectives?
He was my mother's spiritual guru, so I've seen him from a long time. What is really, I mean, the message that he gives is that irrespective of whichever religious path you follow, it is really love that you have to do, love towards each other, love towards the Lord. And I think that has been the very, very important thing that I have learned from him. Also, I have seen the way he lives and conducts himself. It's always been, I mean, in spite of being whatever his position is as a guru of so many hundreds of thousands of people, he lives in such a simple way and only talks about through difficult times and all. He just talk about, he'll have a smile on his face and he will always talk about love. He talks about the importance of the scriptures, gives us, lessons, the stories of the scriptures. And so I think it makes a lot of difference.
Now, through you, I have been a beneficiary of those discourses and lessons and stories. And I think more than that, his light, his presence is itself an inspiration.
Yes.
Your home was named by him Karuna Sindhu, a house of compassion. I have personally experienced it overflows with compassion, whether it is sharing, if you could share a little about that.
So one of the things that I have seen and learned is that I think the concept of service or seva in our scriptures is much more than just seva. And in our foundation and in our business, we call it seva bhav. Seva bhav is to something that you give with compassion. Seva bhav is something with karuna. The example that I would like to state is like when a mother is feeding her child, she is giving something, she is giving her milk to the child, but she is not looking at it as a favor given to the child. She is giving it out of love and compassion. And that is the important thing. Therefore, Karuna Sindhu, it is really a name of, you can call the Lord is the sea of compassion. So therefore, what does he do? He just gives you. He doesn't think that I'm giving you, you cannot even imagine.
Yeah.
All our scriptures or all our stories talk about how happy he is to give his devotee. So similarly, I think if we can give with bhav, with seva bhav, like a mother feeds her child, I think that's the best form of giving. And I find that, again, rather than you being, at a superior level and giving, proud of your giving, it is you should be grateful that you have a chance to spread this love and spread the Lord's gift. So that's how we believe. And therefore the name Karuna Sindhu is just to take an inspiration. Our house overlooks the sea. And again, nature is the best example of Karuna and Sindhu. The trees give you flower, gives you fruit. Actually, the tree bends down to give you the fruit. Or, the Lord gives you air. We realize the importance of oxygen, where even the richest people were struggling to get some oxygen during COVID. But every day, every minute today, like you and I are sitting here, the Lord is giving us the oxygen. So why can't we learn from nature and have this seva bhav is what we try to incorporate.
Thank you for that, Ajay. You talked about whether it's seva bhav or doing your dharma, compassion, the values. How does all of this tie into your perspective of happiness?
So again, I think the whole world wants happiness.
Yeah.
The US Constitution begins the pursuit of happiness. Even our scriptures, at the end of the day, they only talk about how to be happy. But there is a difference. I think the way many people look upon happiness is that when I acquire one thing, then I want to acquire the next and next. But we've all seen in our lives. I may get really happy buying a big Mercedes car, but the next day when I see somebody else having a Rolls, I'd like to buy a Rolls. The third day I'd like to buy, and it goes on and on. You're not really happy. In fact, you want it somewhere. Actually, these things at the end of the day make you more and more wanting more, becoming more greedy, if I may say. So our scriptures really say that human beings have only two pursuits in life. The ultimate pursuit of life is to have happiness and to avoid pain. And the happiness that our scriptures talk about is within yourself. It is not outside. And we see the examples of all the saints. They suffer so much, but they are so happy. Look at Ramakrishna Paramhans. He was suffering from the cancer of the throat. He had so much pain, but he was so happy because he was within. That happiness is within us. So how can we, that is the pursuit that all of us should go for.
Yeah, thank you. Really, I think it's that whole happiness is within, and it's a choice. Ramakrishna Paramhansa obviously understood that he had the choice and he had built the resilience to be happy even in the worst of times. What practices do you follow to be happy in you go through your challenges. All of us are human beings, and challenges are there to test us, to fire us up, and to bring out our mettle, and to teach us how to be happy even in the worst of times. Could you share some of the practices that you follow?
So really, I think I believe we've been blessed in this country, because this country has actually, the scriptures are the biggest source of strength for me. And then, I might try certain other things like, but really the scriptures are the most important, some meditation and all. But I think we have to recognize that at the end of the day, I believe that in our scriptures, the Gita talks about it all the time, that the Lord will look after you. The Lord says that to my devotee, I will protect what he has and provide what he needs. And that is my promise. If we believe in that promise, then there's nothing, who doesn't have difficulties in this world? I don't know of a single person. And you look at our own stories. Did not Lord Ram have difficulties? Krishna was born in a jail, and from the time he was born, he had difficulties. These are all examples for us to say that if the Lord has difficulty, he has shown us through his Leela that there's difficulty, so we are all going to go through it. And at least I don't know of anybody in this world. I may act happy, I may act, great, but all of us go through our challenges. And how the difference between, I think, one person and the other is how you face your challenge. Challenges will come, but how do we face it? Do we face it ultimately believing that the Lord will look after us? That supreme faith is the only thing which makes us happy.
Yeah, that surrender, which doesn't come easily for many of us. Many people confuse pleasure, contentment, success, wealth with happiness. Your views? You've obviously been through the whole cycle.
See, I am not a sannyasi. I enjoy all the good things in life. I enjoy pleasure of going out. I enjoy the wealth that I have. I enjoy everything. But as I said before, that is not the ultimate. It falls short, because every time you want more. If I have a car, if I have a big car, then I want a plane. If I have a plane, I want a bigger plane, and so on. It goes on and on and on. It never stops. So therefore, really the happiness has to come from within. You have to look at yourself. And in that, you have to be very self-centered, that I have to be happy. And I think it's really that. And, the belief that if I keep it, as I said, leave it in the hands of the Lord, I will be happy. The difficult times will go through. I have to give you a very favorite story of mine. And it's a well-known story, but I still think I believed in it because I've gone through lot of challenges. Let me tell you some challenges. When I was, my father died in literally 30 seconds when I was 24, just in front of me. So I've seen that. After that, in business, my elder brother and I were together. There was a big strike, and we were really virtually on, we didn't have any capital. And my brother, in the midst of that, at the age of 33, developed cancer and passed away. And he had 3 kids. The youngest was 1, eldest was 11. But yet, I think through this, one needed the strength, and it only came from the strong faith if I have. And the story which I'm going to say is this now. There was this young boy and an old man who were walking on a beach. And as the young boy is, as they're walking on the beach, there are footsteps that they see that are there on the beach, on the sand. There are 2 sets of footsteps, one of the boy and the old man. The old man in the boy's dream, this is all a dream. The old man in the boy's dream is the Lord. And he finds the boy in the dream that at times there are 2 sets of footsteps. And at other times there's 1 set. And the boy gets really upset that he realizes that at the good times there are 2 sets. But in the most difficult times of his, there's only 1 set of footprints. And that's the boy gets upset with God and tells him that, what is this? And my most difficult time you have left me. And the Lord says, no, that's the time I have actually lifted you up so that you don't have a problem. I think that is my story.
Oh, so believing that he is always with you. I think it is that which keeps us truly going through every day and riding.
And makes us happy, Who has not gone through difficulties?
True.
And I can see everybody, all of us have gone through difficulties. I don't know if anybody was not, as I said. But if that belief has actually kept me happy, if you say. So somebody may say that you don't care for things, it's not that.
And how can they develop this faith to know that I am protected, I am cared, even in the worst of times?
I think really it is. So I think I was blessed. I may have been born with that. I don't know what it is. But really what's important is how can we develop it? One is the association, satsang, association of good people with good people. And that's how it's very important. And good is not only, good is really who have value-based lives and who have lived it. You have seen them, as we saw Radhanath Maharaj, we talked about. So people like that who you can associate with. And not only that, then you have the Sangat where you have the scriptures to help you. You can have association of the scriptures. And then hopefully this will take you to the next level of, doing some inner thinking. But I think it is the association of people and scriptures. At least I don't know of any other way. And if you want, it's the name of the Lord, as they say in this age, it is only the name of the Lord. But I didn't want to go down that because that will take some progression for any.
No, I think this is very helpful advice that at least start small from the level of the association and then take it deeper to the next level. Any other, if you had to say one nugget as we close the conversation today, that when it comes to balancing all our roles, our responsibilities, serving in the world, and also being, simat ke rehna, within yourself, to be happy, what is that one nugget you would like to leave us with?
No, I think ultimate happiness is in giving. If you give yourself, if you give the talent you may have, if you give the part of your wealth that you have, if you give your time, think that gives more joy than anything than taking.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, happiness is in giving. Thank you so much. And I have seen you being as we said, as Karuna Sindhu, a river of compassion, constantly giving selflessly, whether it is as a social entrepreneur, whether it is a member of the family or as a friend. So you truly live it, Ajay. Thank you so very much for joining me on this episode. And
Thank you.
thank you.